In example 5, we are supposed to sketch in the interval between 0 degrees all the way to 360 as the values of theta, the graph of y is equals to 1 sec 2 theta. And as you can see, this function would have been the graph of y is equals to sec theta, but it has two transformation. You can see this 2 is a multiplication inside, that is one transformation, and there is plus 1, which is addition outside, that is another transformation. And we may begin with the graph of y is equals to sec theta, and all the way from 0 to 360, we know it like the way we are going to show it. 90, if we have, if you want to sketch the graph of y is equal to sec theta, we know there is an asymptote at 90 degrees. But before we get to that asymptote, let us consider y is equals to sec theta into y is equals to sec 2 theta. And what do we see there? We see a multiplication inside. Multiplication inside, it means we are going to undergo a horizontal stretch of scale factor 1 over a. And it follows that our a is 2. So what is 1 over 2? Which is a half. So all the lines of asymptotes will change, and they will now have to be multiplied by a half. So we are going to have an asymptote now talking about 45 degrees. That is where it, because it was originally at 90. The second asymptote, after an interval of 180 degrees, we have put this again before. So it was at 270 degrees. So 270 degrees times a half is going to be 135 degrees. So it's going to be there. This is going to be 135 degrees. So there is a 90 in between there. And you can see now the interval between one asymptote to the other is now not 180 degrees, simply because there is a multiplication of 1 over 2, and it is now 90. So the next asymptote is 135 plus 90, which is 225. It's going to be at 225. It's going to be 225. The next one, 225 plus 90, which is 315. Which is 315. And the next one, 315 plus 90, which is going to be 405, so to speak. So the next one is going to be at 405. And because we all know if this is 1, this is minus 1, this is 2, this is minus 1, and minus 2. After we have done that, then we come to plus 1, which is addition outside. Addition outside means vertical translation of a steps. What does that mean? That means all y values plus a 1. And we get to understand, when we were talking about y is equals to sec theta, when we're talking about y is equals to sec theta, all y values were at 1 moving up and at minus 1 moving down. So all those values are now going to be added a 1. So when we were talking about 1, when theta is supposed to be 0, y is equals to sec theta gives us a 1. But of course, 1 plus 1 is going to be a 2. And then you remember asymptote change. So it's going to be something of that nature. And at the same time, when we are talking about the asymptote that is along the 45 degrees, you realize that it was supposed to start at -1 downwards. But because there is a +1, -1 plus 1, this will now be the new turning point of that particular curve, that way. And it continues like that until now, until from 135 to 225, we have another curve that turns at around 2. This is 2. So and so on and so forth. So from 225 to 315, then we have another curve that turns at the value of y being equals to 0. And moving forward, you will already see that there's another turning point that is at 1. So along this line, or the turning point, this is the line y is equals to 2. And this is the line y is equals to 0. Because this +1 means that all y values plus a 1. And what we are having now is the graph of y is equals to 1 plus sec 2 theta. Just remember, we have had in mind the graph of y is equal to sec theta, and which we transformed into y is equals to sec 2 theta, which means this is multiplication inside, and multiplication inside means a horizontal stretch of scale factor 1 over a, which required us to say all x values times a half. And that is why asymptotes were all halved. An asymptote that was originally 90, when we were dealing with y is equals to sec theta, was now along where x is equals to 45. An asymptote that was supposed to be at 270, when we are dealing with y is equals to sec theta, is 270 times a half gives us 135, and it happens so for all the other asymptotes. So at that particular point, we got y is equals to sec 2 theta. Now, from this to this, 1 plus sec 2 theta, we have talking about addition outside. This is addition outside, and addition outside means vertical translation of a steps. That means what? All y values plus a 1, because our a is 1. And that is why all y values rose one step upwards. And what we are having now is now the graph of y is equals to 1 plus sec 2 theta between x when it is equals to 0 to x when it is equals to 360 degrees. All right?